Hello, I'm Liam, and welcome to part 2 of Loki Battle Match January 2025 Calendar Adventure, An Unquiet Night. When last we played, 4 solitary travelers met each other when they each took its shelter in a ruined bothy. They were awakened by a visitation of evil spirits who attacked our party after attempting to taunt them. We defeated them, but the startling and unusual events didn't stop there. There are other strange things afoot here in the bothy. The sky is dark and starless. The bothy itself is surrounded by a thick, dark fog. The campfire and the party's torches, I decided, are not consuming fuel. Some of their gear seems to be not exactly theirs. Minor things like bedrolls and camp kits seem to be imperfect facsimiles. And Iraga and Martin discovered a glowing magic dagger, the Dawn Blade, and a bag of gold beneath a loose flagstone over here. Iraga now carries the Dawn Blade, and Martin has secured the bag of gold about his person. Things seem calm now, and I think the party would take some time to talk about what just happened and explore their surroundings a bit more thoroughly. Zaldini, I think, would make some excuse about his failed magic missile. Probably something like the great Zaldini isn't used to casting such simple spells. Jorvin says, "Well, use a stronger spell next time." And Zaldini says, "You have to save those for moments that warrant it, I suppose." And then he joins Iraga at the campfire for a closer look at this Dawn Blade. I think Martin probably joins them too, and Martin's making a careful effort to not mention the bag of gold, hoping that no one else noticed that in the hubbub. Jorvin watches them, and for a moment, I think, and then turns his attention to the fog. And he makes his way to the edge here. He's got his torch, he's still within sight of the campfire, but as he moves into the fog, he reappears at a, where's my D4? He reappears, the rules of the adventure say, at a random location. So that's going to be, where's my table here? 2 is the eastern edge, so somewhere over here. And 12, 1, 2, 3. He reappears up here. Now this is a ridge, so he's down below. I forget how far this drops off. I think it said something like 30 feet. So that's not good. So he finds himself, he can't even see the campfire. So he calls out. Does he even know? Yeah, he could see this wall, so he knows where. He knows he's still at the bothy, but he doesn't know exactly where. And that gets their attention. He's far enough away they can hear each other, so they move over here. Iraga, Zaldini, and Martin, they probably all go together. Do they all go together? I think Zaldini stays within sight of the campfire. Iraga and Martin move over, and they have plenty of time here. The calendar says you have time enough for a short rest, which in Dungeons and Dragons 5e terms, that's half an hour. So that's plenty of time to get Jorvin back up the hill here. And I think they reconvene at the campfire, and it is then that the second visitation occurs. And the calendar says, let's see, exact copies of each character step out from random map edges. So I've got duplicate Scrabble tiles here. We'll use these for Jorvin, our dwarf fighter, Martin, our human thief, Iraga, our half-orc priestess, and Zaldini, the great, our goblin wizard. And I've got these blue tokens we'll put on here to know, so we'll know who's who. And so random tiles, let's do this. And we'll see where these appear. So again on the east, 10, 12, 11, 10. So the... Again, that's below the cliff. So I'm going to move them up here under the path. Onto the entry. So there is the doppelganger Jordan. 3 is going to be the south, I believe. Yep, south, and we're 1, 2, 3 over here. So the copy of Martin appears over here. A copy of Araga appears in the north. Way over here. Again, that's down below this ridge. So I'm going to put her up here. And then Zaldini. The copy of Zaldini is also in the south here. Where is he? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not far. So it's not a problem for the doppelganger Iraga. What should we call these? Evil Iraga. to be in the dark over here. They wouldn't be able to see her. But she can see them. But the calendar, the adventure says their tactic is they want to sow confusion in order to gain some, let's see. Dreamgangers try to sow confusion before attacking, hoping to gain tactical advantages and a surprise round. So I do think they're going to move into, I think this one would move into the campfire light, which extends only 10 feet from here. So she would move here. In fact, I think these spirits who have become Dreamgangers would attempt, I think it's still the same spirits, just being something else now. It's difficult to say. We get to decide, I suppose. The real trick here would be to sow confusion and move around and possibly move in amongst them if they could. I don't think that's possible because we're all grouped up here. So, for the moment, gosh, doppelgangers are so much work. Here's the calendar tells us it's a very difficult chance for the party members to tell who is the doppelganger and who is not. In Shadowdark terms, that would be a difficulty check of 18, and that would be a wisdom check. Perception check in D&D is wisdom. So it's a DC 18 wisdom check. But our party has just met, so I honestly think if all that happened was we saw these two Aragas next to each other, we haven't known Araga long enough to know who's the real one. And so I think it's honestly going to be impossible for our party members to tell who is who. At the moment, they know who is who because the real ones, they suppose, are in here. I guess that's a tactic these guys could take. So when Zaldini stayed over here and the other 3 moved over here, these other doppelgangers could start. Let's move this Martin a little bit closer. He might stay more in the shadows because he's a thief. They might try to convince the other ones that that the ones that came back out of the fog initially were fake. So I think that's what they'll do. This Jorban will yell to these others, "That's not the real Jorban. I'm the real Jorban. I stepped into the fog and here I am." And Araga and Zaldini. Now it's going to be a harder sell for this Zaldini. Well, not to the other ones though. I suppose Zaldini would know this is the fake one. But this Zaldini, as these ones approached, this one could say that Zaldini's the wrong one. I'm the real Zaldini, and so on and so forth. So now the issue is nobody knows who each other is. The motivation here is for the Dreamgangers to gain surprise, I suppose, when they attack. And so I think there would be enough confusion that they could move forward. Everybody is within. Would Zaldini? Does Zaldini... Oh, there's a question. This Zaldini is not able to cast Magic Missile. Does that mean this Zaldini is also not able to cast Magic Missile because he recently failed? I don't think this Zaldini would know that, so I think he might keep some distance. And Martin, of course, would this Martin move into the shadows to attack? Well, I don't think so. I think they're up here trying to use their persuasion to get people confused. So Enduraga moves closer, and I suppose they're moving next to who would they? Or would they keep some distance? I suppose if you're a doppelganger, you don't really want to stand right next to the person you're copying, because assuming that the other people knew who they were, that would make it easier for them to compare. So they keep some distance, right? And that's the setup when suddenly the Dreamgangers turn on these guys. Now, let's see. The Dreamgangers have a tragic flaw. So Dreamganger is a invention of the calendar. It's based off the monster called the Doppelganger. I don't have a stat block for Shadowdark for that, and don't really need one because they're just going to take on all of the stats and abilities of the character that they've copied. But the Dreamganger in this adventure has a tragic flaw. Did I write it down here? Yeah. They have a tragic flaw where if they see a reflection of themselves, they gain disadvantage for 1 to 3 rounds. But none of my party have any mirrors. So, and this is such a terrible situation. It's supposed to be tough, but I think I'm gonna let the light of the Dawn Blade expose who is who. So if Iraga is next to someone, I think there will be some kind of indication, maybe a shimmer or some kind of, I have these, I printed out these characters. I decided not to use these on camera because on the straight down camera you can't see them. But maybe they lose color, or there's some kind of, they're not quite opaque. There's a little bit of transparency to somebody who is that close to the glow of the Dawn Blade. So, but she doesn't realize that. Yeah, well, maybe does this one? Maybe Jorbin notices it on this. In fact, in the spirit of Shadowdark, I'm just gonna say that he does. So Jorbin is able to notice something off about this Iraga that makes him think it's a manifestation or some evil spirit. It's the Dreamganger. And so he lets the others know about this, and it's at that moment that the Dreamgangers attack. And because they have this tactical advantage, they have surprise. They get a free attack before we roll initiative. And I think if they were smart, they'd gang up on one character and take that character out. But we're kind of dispersed here, and I'm going to put my kind game master hat on and have them just each attack whoever they're next to. So this Martin, who I guess we'll just go in order here. This Martin attacks this Martin with a free attack, and I believe, I don't think they get advantage on this. Surprise. Well, yeah, if they were truly surprised, you would get advantage. Let me double check the rules. A creature has advantage against surprised targets. I don't think we're surprised in that way. Our party's not, we're kind of expecting something really wrong is wrong here. And these, the bad guys are obviously up to something not good. So, and I suppose, well, okay, individuals might be surprised, right? Martin is not going to be surprised because he knows this is the fake Martin. So when the fake Martin attacks, he's ready for it. So there's no advantage. It's just this Martin will go first. And then we'll roll initiative. So these guys might get 2 rounds, but they're not going to have advantage on this attack. This Zaldini knows this Zaldini's fake, so he's not surprised by him, but he doesn't know which Jordan is which. So maybe he'd be surprised by a Jordan, but he's ready to be attacked by something. So I don't think they have advantage on us. They just get this free attack. So here we go. Martin, he's not backstabbing. Backstabbing means he gets more damage against unaware creatures. He's good Martin, real Martin is not unaware. So we're just gonna do a straight up attack. It's a dagger, 1d4. He gets +4 to hit. So 10 plus 4 is 14. And does he hit Martin's armor class? No. So he misses Martin. Now we'll just go around this way. Zaldini. Does Zaldini, the doppelganger, still have the ability to cast a magic missile? Or would he charm person? One creature makes one creature a friend for 8 days. Oh my goodness. Or burning hands. 1d6 damage all creatures in close. I don't think the Dreamgangers are out to... These are evil spirits, right? So I think their motivation is to kill our party, not be terribly clever about it. Spell casting. Let's see. Burning hands. 1d6. All creatures close. So Zaldini would have to close. I think this Zaldini would probably actually take a step back and try to use ranged. And I'm gonna say he does have. Yeah, I think this is a tough call. I'm going to give him Magic Missile. Because he hasn't failed to cast it yet. So we are going to... Our spell casting, we're rolling with advantage on this. This is not good. Spell casting +4. So and this is a first tier spell. So we want to get 11. And we get it. 15 is the best roll, +4 is 19, and that's going to do 1d4 damage on one creature. So I assume he's going to attack. Yeah, I'm just going to have him attack. So my thought there was, if they were trying to be deceptive, he might not attack his own Zaldini, because he might try to convince the other ones, but I don't think. I think I'm overthinking this. Dreamganger Zaldini attacks real Zaldini, and he hits for 1 point of damage, thank goodness. And that takes Zaldini down to 2 health from 3. Okay, Jorben. Jorben is right next to Zaldini. Does he attack Zaldini, or does he step over here and attack the copy of himself? I think, again, just to keep things simple for my own sake, I'm going to have each of them attack their counterpart. So Jorben attacks, steps over here. Dreamganger Jorben attacks Doppelganger Jorben with his great axe. And he gets +4 to attack here. 19, that's a hit. 19, because his AC is only 15. And we're going to do 1d8 damage +1. That's substantial. This could be bad. 1d8 +1, 6. Oh my goodness. Jorben's down. Really? Jorben's down to 3 health. Okay, Iraga, Dreamganger Iraga steps to the left and attacks. Attacks good Iraga. Does Dreamganger Iraga have a copy of the Dawnblade? I assume she does. So, now the other monsters in this adventure are vulnerable to radiant damage, which is what the dagger emits. Iraga herself is not, and it doesn't say that the Dreamgangers are vulnerable, so I'm assuming they're not. So Dreamganger Iraga attacks with the Dawnblade, which is a +1 dagger. So let's see if I can work this out. She has a +4 to attack, with a regular longsword. So I think she gets +5 on this roll. And needs to hit AC 14. Oh, she does not get it. 4 + 5 is 9. That's not enough. She misses. Okay. That was their free surprise attack. Now we roll initiative. So I'm gonna, let's see. Green die is our party, and the white die is the enemy. And the Dreamgangers go first. So that's terrible. Okay. Same thing. Martin goes after the other Martin. And with his dagger, +4, that's a hit. Does D4 damage. And that does 2 damage to Martin. Oh my goodness. Martin's down to 1 health. Okay. Zaldini is going to do Magic Missile again. Rolls with advantage. 13. That's a hit. And, Zaldini's down to 2 health. Where did Zaldini go? Zaldini's Magic Missile does 4 damage. 1. Okay. He's down to 1 health. This is not looking good. Jorben attacks Jorben with his great axe. And he gets a +4 here. 12 + 4 is 16. That's a hit. D8 damage. Oh, Jorben. Oh my goodness. And Jorben goes down. That is... Okay. Death. How does death work in Shadowdark? At 0 health, roll a d4 plus Constitution on their turn. So when it gets to Jorben's turn, we'll do this. We'll roll a d4, we'll add his Constitution modifier, which is 3. And then Jorben will die in that many rounds unless he's healed or stabilized. And then on each of his turns, we roll a d20. On a natural 20, we get to stand up with 1 health. Another creature can stabilize Jorben with a DC 15 intelligence check. But then he remains unconscious. So we'll deal with that when it's Jorben's turn. In the meantime, Iraga, evil Iraga, attacks good Iraga with the Dawnblade. This is terrible. And we get a +5, and that's a hit. And the Dawnblade is going to do D6 + 1 damage. And she has 4 health. So, 2. Okay, goodness. So 1 + 1 is 2, so she's down to 2 health. Okay, and now it's our party's turn. Oh my goodness. All right. Martin. We'll just go around in order. Oh boy. So what's our, these are the Dreamgangers. We do have luck tokens. Jorben, Martin, and Zaldini have luck tokens. So our Dreamgangers version of Jorben, Iraga, Martin, and Zaldini are at full health. Zaldini has 3. Martin has 3. Jorben has 10. And Iraga has 5. Oh my goodness. I don't know if we're going to make it to the dragon. Okay, Martin first. How can we be smart about this? Our players, Iraga knows that this is fake Iraga because of the dagger. She doesn't see the effect on these guys, so she knows all these are the real ones. So Iraga knows who is who. Does she try to team up with somebody? Well, actually, so Martin is just going to straight up, I think, attack his, because he doesn't really know what else to do here, I would think. So here we go. Martin is going to roll. He gets +4 on his attack. 11 + 4 is 15. That's exactly what he needed. and he rolls a d4, and if he gets a 3 or 4, that's what we're open for. 2. So the Dreamganger Martin is down to 1 health. Now, who's next? We'll do Zaldini. Our Zaldini, his magic missile, is not available. So, what might he do? Charm Person, does that work on a doppelganger? Here's the Dreamganger stat block. Challenge, Dreambound. Oh, they're undead. So, you know what? They're undead and neutral evil, just like all these other things. So I'm going to go ahead and say that they are vulnerable to radiant damage. Dreambound. Perception check, Cursed Reflection. Yeah. Okay, so whose turn is it? Zaldini. So Charm Person's not going to work. Magic Missile's out of commission. He could do Burning Hands, which would do 1d6. So I think he's going to... Does he? How does Burning Hands work? 1d6 damage all creatures close. So he could move. He could try to step over Jorben's fallen body, stand here and cast Burning Hands in order to try to hit Jorben sort of around the corner. And Iraga, do I let him do that? Jorben has, I would say Jorben has partial cover there, and so it'd be disadvantaged to hit him. But there's a chance. And I don't think Burning Hands hits your friends. I'm gonna assume the caster in Shadowdark has enough control over this spell that it would just hit the enemies. And you can move, I would say he moves over Jorben as if he's moving through difficult terrain, which just means he moves at half speed. So he can move 15 feet instead of 30 feet, and so this is just 10 feet. So I'm going to let him do it. Zaldini the Great hops, nimble as he is, I suppose, over the fallen Jorben, spinning and cast Burning Hands. Now I'm going to do 2 rolls. I'm going to roll once to see if he hits at all, and then he has to roll again to hit Jorben because he's casting with disadvantage. Well, just because Jorben has a bit of cover from this wall here. So first roll, does it even work? 12 plus 4, yeah. That's a 16, so that works. He's going to do at least he's going to do d6 damage to this Iraga. Does Zaldini know? I think he sees the same thing Iraga sees, that this is the fake one. And he knows this is real. I think the Dawnblade is revealing who's real and not. Just to make my life easier. And then Zaldini, does he hit this one? So, does he hit Jorben? No. That fails to hit Jorben. But does he hit... So he hits Iraga for 1d6. 1. Oh, goodness. 4. She's down to 4. Not great. Okay. Our Jorben is down, but it's his turn, so we're going to do this roll where we do... What was it? 1d4? Yep, a d4 plus his constitution of 3. So that's a 1. So Jorben has 4 turns. Let's see. He will die in that many rounds unless healed or stabilized. Do we do a roll? Is this his turn? I think this is the first check, or does he get a freebie? I think this is the first check. So he gets, I think what this is trying to tell us is he'll get 4 chances to roll a 20. If he rolls a 20, he's saved. Otherwise, he doesn't die. Otherwise, somebody needs to stabilize him. So I'm surprised Jorben is the first one to go down with all the health he had. Okay, we're gonna roll his in D&D we'd call this death save 7. Does he use his luck token to try to make this? He's got to get a 20. We'll save the luck token for the last roll. Okay, he gets 3 more chances. All right, Iraga. Now Iraga. What's our evil Araga down to 4? I think evil Martin's down to 1. I think because she's engaged with this Araga, it might be clever to try to move over here and take out this Martin, but she's just gonna swing at evil Araga with her Dawnblade, the real Dawnblade, I suppose. And see how we do here. 5. Oh goodness, plus 5 is 10. What's her AC? 14. She misses. Does she use her? She doesn't have a luck token left. So, all right. And now it's the bad guy's turn. This is terrible. What's Araga down to? Martin's down to 1. Evil Martin has to miss this or we're in real trouble. Okay, evil Martin. So, that's terrible. 17. Evil Martin hits real Martin, and he only needs to do 1 point of damage. We'll roll it just for fun, I suppose. Here we go. Evil Martin, 1d4 damage, and 1. It's just enough. And let's see. 0, 0. So on Martin's turn, we'll also do the death save. But Martin is down. Oh, and we can. These guys can move. In Shadowdark, you can attack and move on the same round. So I think Martin would close with our Araga, I suppose. That's the closest. It's not looking good for our party, you guys. Okay, that was Evil Martin. Evil Zaldini. Magic Missile again, I suppose. It's too good. 12, 15. He rolls with advantage. That's a hit. Who does he hit? Our Zaldini. And that does 1d4 damage. 4. And that is our Zaldini down. So we're left with Araga. She's on her own against the rest of these. Who's left? And Jordan and Evil Araga still get to attack. So Evil, the campfire's there. Yeah, I think we can attack diagonally. Attacks over the campfire. Jordan, here we go. 12 plus something. This is going to be it, I think. Where's Jordan? Great Axe, 12 plus 4 is 16 against Araga. Her AC, I think, was 14. That's a hit. 1d8 plus 1. So she's going to do at least 2 damage, and that will take down Araga. Oh my goodness. It's a total party wipe. Okay. We'll roll just to see how hard he hit her. 2. Just enough. But that's all it takes. So that is Araga down. Whoop. Okay. And we didn't even get to fight the dragon. Now, on the hill, amidst the ruins of an old bothy, dawn breaks. A dwarf, a human, a half-orc, and a goblin awake. A dwarf, a human, a half-orc, I forget who is where, and a goblin awake. I think it was like this. The calendar tells us anyone who died in the dream wakes up exhausted. Any consumable used in the dream is restored. We didn't even get a chance. We did. We had healing potions. Oh, I'm a big dummy. They could have used a healing potion on the same round that they're attacked. In In Shadowdark, a healing potion is kind of a free action. So they could have done that, but they didn't. Any consumable used in the dream is restored. The Dawn Blade, though, and the bag of gold are gone. There is no evidence in the ruins that anything like what they experienced actually transpired, except, strangely, they find next to them each, let's see, a purple gem. Amethyst of Rest. It says here it's a wondrous item, very rare. These small purple uncut gems are said to only appear following mortal incursions into a realm of nightmares. They contain a fragment of the sleep stolen by the evil spirits of that realm. These gems can be used to either gain the effects of a long rest while taking a short rest, or they can grant the benefits of a short rest as an action. So in D&D terms, what that means is if you're taking like a half-hour rest, you could get a full rest, which would restore health and spell slots and things like that. Or you could just use it during your turn and get some health back. So in Shadowdark, we don't have short and long rests. We just have long rests. So I'm going to say they can use this as an action and get the benefits of a long rest, which means full health and any spells that failed are restored. And once used, the gem turns to dust and cannot be used again. So they find the purple gem, each of them next to them. And what else? I think I think they're all glad to be alive. The winds are back, the snow is back, but also is the sun and the sky, and the fog is gone. And I think Iraga, well, Martin's closest to it. I think Martin immediately moves over to the flagstone when he notices the bag of gold gone, and notices the glowing. And they hear Martin's cry of joy as he pries open the flagstone, and they move over cautiously but determinedly, and everybody's there when we pry open the flagstone this time. And there's the Dawn Blade, and which they allow Iraga to just go ahead and retrieve, and a bag of gold, which they will divvy up between them. The treasure, if we enumerate it here, so in Dungeons and Dragons, you get treasure, you get experience points for killing enemies. In Dungeons and Dragons, in Shadowdark, you get experience for the treasure you find, and potentially other things you do along the way or find. And so if we list all of this out, we've got the Lucis Blade, that's the Dawn Blade, and a bag of gold, four dream shards, and if I read the Shadowdark Game Master rules right, our total value should be, for our level 1 party, should be something like 10 to 20 gold pieces of value for each encounter. And we had 2 encounters? Well, potentially 3. I'm going to go ahead and say there's 3 encounters in this adventure. Wow, my writing is terrible here. 3 encounters, which would be roughly, so 30 to 60 gold in that bag. And then there's a table, which I think what the table is telling us is that this Dawn Blade would be, in Shadowdark terms, worth about 3 XP. The bag of gold is specifically listed. It's not enumerated how much is in there, but it just lists a bag of gold as 1 XP. And then we have 4 dream shards. I think these dream shards would be especially valuable to a wizard in Shadowdark terms, because you fail, like for instance, Zaldini in our encounter failed that magic missile and then couldn't use it for the rest of the adventure. This sort of one shot. And so, but a wizard with a dream shard could just crush that thing and then get his spell back. So I'm going to say those are extremely valuable. I would put those also at like 3 XP. So that's 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 experience. And that's shared, so you get 16 experience. And if there's, let's make our math easy, we'll say 30 to 60. We'll say there was 40 gold. So they split it up and they each get 10 gold. They each get 16 experience. And 16 experience is plenty to level everybody up to level 2, which I will do when we return to the calendar of many adventures in February. If you're playing along, I'd love to hear about your adventures. There's a link in the comment on last week's episode, or maybe the first one. It was episode 2, to a video that Sam made about his party heading into the Shadowdark, which I enjoyed very much, so do check that out. Next week I'll be tackling the Hexplorers Guide Volume 1 using Cairn. I may even try to get a start on that this weekend as well, but at least by next Monday we'll have some adventures with Cairn in the Veiled Peaks. So until we meet again, friends, keep your lanterns lit and your hearts warm. Thanks for watching. So, what do I think of this adventure? I think Game Master's workload, I would call this high. For a one-shot, we've got legendary heroes we need to tie into the world's lore. We've got rules of the battlefield to keep in mind, plus some special rules for enemies, in addition to the system rules and your player's abilities. And maybe I'm overthinking things, but to do doppelgangers well, I don't know. That's a really tough ask, especially for a new game master or someone like me who's returning to the hobby after a very long hiatus. And player satisfaction, for me, this was pretty low. No one likes a total party wipe, but the real issue for me as a player is that it's all just a dream. The stakes are assumed to be life and death, and then the stakes are revealed to be a good night's sleep. So it's a bit of a boy who cried wolf experience, I think. I wouldn't know if I could trust the game master after it, honestly. It's okay, I think, for NPCs to be unreliable narrators, but you don't want your game master to be one. Would I use the adventure again? Yes, but with some modification. We could scale the difficulty down some more. 5e, 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons is a power fantasy, so adventures need to be very challenging to be challenging at all. And I tried to convert this level 5 to 7 5e adventure to level 1 Shadowdark. Shadowdark is more like original D&D, where a player can fall down some stairs and it's game over. So I could maybe give the doppelgangers no surprise round, or handicap them some more, like maybe they're not only identified by the Dawnblade but are also repulsed by it. But the real problem is the bait and switch, I think, with what's at stake for the players. Am I fighting for my life, or am I just trying to get a good night's sleep? To fix that, I think I'd use this adventure over several attempted rests. And I got that idea. The calendar doesn't explicitly say that, but I got the idea here, I think. What next? Onward complications. Do the events of this adventure have any longer lasting ripples? Haunted nights to come. Have the characters piqued the interest of ghostly dream forces? Will they find themselves once more in a dream realm? So what we could do over several attempted rests, maybe when they're camping or in an inn or wherever they are and they're trying to sleep, the first time it happens that they enter this dream realm, the party, I think I wouldn't have them get very far into the adventure at all. Maybe as soon as the first ghosts appear, everyone wakes up in a cold sweat. Somehow make it clear that we're in a nightmare and there's something mysterious going on here, but the worst that's going to happen is you're going to be tired the next day. And then on successive rests, this group nightmare occurs. Maybe only on a new moon or something. And it's It's always very challenging, but the party can experiment with tactics and with each success, each time they overcome a visitation, they learn something more about what's going on and why it's happening, and perhaps that this bothy is a real place, and they learn the location and can find the real Dawnblade buried there. So, as a sort of series of side quests where the stakes are clear up front, as a space where the party can experiment with tactics without death as a consequence, but also feel a sense of progression and a little mystery to solve. I think that could be really fun. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on Loki Battle Match January 2025 Calendar of Many Adventures, Adventure, and Unquiet Night. What do you think? See you in the comments.